Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Straight Stitching. Today I want to show you a really easy block that you can put together. The name of the block is Cross Weave. It is essentially 4 log cabin blocks put together. In order to do this block, what you will need is 4 background pieces, and those are the white pieces on the corner. They measure 4.5 inches squared, and then you will need the 4 different colors that you will use throughout to create the cross weave effect. For each of those 4 colors, you will need one piece that is 6.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and then one piece that is 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And then as you can see here, I have the block that I'm going to be putting together, and I've laid it out so that I can get the colors the way that I want in terms of the cross weaving. For this particular block, we will put it together using a 1/4 inch seam. So let's go ahead and get started. So to do this block, you're going to take one of the short pieces, so the 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and sew it along one of the edges of your background piece. And remember, we're using a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm just chain piecing them together to help to make this process go a bit faster. So that way I don't have to cut the thread in between blocks. So once you have the short pieces sewn together on each of the blocks, you'll want to press before you move on to the next step. I'm going to press my seams open, so when I do that, I like to finger press first and then press it with the iron. So remember, when you're pressing your seams open, you want to just place your iron on the seam. It's good to use an iron that is dry so that you're not steaming your material and distorting the shape of the fabric. And I like to press it on both sides to try to get the seam as flat as possible. So I'm just laying this back out so I can make sure that when I attach the longer piece that I attach it to the right block, so that I maintain the cross weaving effect. Okay, great. Okay, so you can see it's starting to come together. Hopefully you can see that. So now we're going to take each of these blocks that we've sewn the shorter piece onto and now attach the longer piece, so the 6.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So we will attach those. Again, I'm going to use chain piecing to do this. And I have ironed my seams open, but it doesn't actually matter. You can do it open or close, depending on what your preference is. Or I shouldn't say close, but to one side. So you just want to line up the edge of each piece as best you can. Okay, so now you have your 4 mini log cabin blocks put together, and again you want to iron your seams. So I'm going to press them open and then iron them, and we will proceed with putting together the cross weave block. So as you can see, it's really a good block if you have extra jelly roll strips, but even if you don't, you can cut up some scraps if you have them, or cut any yardage or back quarters, whatever type of whatever size material you have will work. Okay, so now we're going to lay the block out. Okay, yes, like this. Great, okay. So you can see the weaving effect is starting to come together. So now we'll just sew the bottom half of the block together and then the top half and then attach them. The block is supposed to finish at 12 inches squared, but you may have to do a bit of trimming, and that's okay. Okay, so again, we're going to press open our seams or press them to the side depending on what your preference is. And then we're going to iron them flat. Okay, so now we have the two halves of the block put together. So we're going to put them together. I'm going to, at the center of the two halves, I'm going to pin so that I have a better chance of having my points line up. So I'll pin there, and I'm going to also pin on each side of one of the weave strips. So a pin here, and then I'll also pin on this side as well. So the pinning isn't entirely necessary, but I want to try to get this as square as possible and to see if I'm going to end up with the 12 inches squared block like the instructions are stating. Okay, so the seams are pressed open, and now I'm going to iron again, and we are almost finished. Okay, so here is our finished block. I'm gonna measure it just to see how what size it finished at. Well, it's not actually finished because it's not attached to another block. So this is about 12 and 3/8. 12 and 3/8. So for the block that I showed you at the beginning of this tutorial, I actually trimmed it, and so I'm going to do the same for this one. And the way that I will trim it is to line up a ruler. So this is just as an example. So you will need a larger ruler. So hold on, let me get a larger ruler. Maybe this would be better to do that one. This is okay. So if you have a ruler that measures at least 6 inches across, I would suggest that you line it up, and I'm not going to cut it on my table, but line it up with the center of your block and then trim off the edges so that you have 6 inches on one side, and then do that for all 4 quadrants of the block, and then you will end up with a block that is 12 inches. So let me get my cutting board and we will cut this. Where is the cutting board? Right here. Okay. Okay, and I want to get this a little bit flatter. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. So in the center, I'm going to line this up at the 6 inch. This is actually, okay, this is the way I want to do this. I don't think I want to use this ruler. Okay, I'm gonna get a different ruler. Okay, so this is a 6.5 inch ruler. So I'm going to line the center line up with the 6 inch mark. Inches. Okay. Okay, so that's moved all around. This is a little bit cumbersome because the ruler is so long, but this is going to work out. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim off this edge here, and then like I said, I will do this on all 4 sides, lining up the 6-inch line with the center of the block. And trimming. Okay, last cut. Okay, so now let's measure the block. Great, so it is 12 inches across and hopefully 12 inches this way as well. Let's move this a little so we can see. Awesome, perfect. 12 inches. So now we have a block that is 12 inches squared, and so it will easily attach to the other block. So this is really quick and easy. It took a little bit more time because we're doing it as an instructional video, but hopefully you can see that if you've already pre-cut your materials, you can put this together rather quickly. So as a reminder, what you will need for this block is background fabric. You're going to need 4 squares that are 4.5 inches squared, and then you're going to need 4 different fabrics to give yourself the cross weave effect. And for each of those fabrics, you're going to need 2 pieces, one piece being 6.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and then the other being 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And then you get this really cool block. So, you know, it looks like almost a ribbon effect where, well, ribbon weaving, it's all the same. So if you try this block, let me know. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the channel, click like, and definitely please leave any comments. So if you've put this block together before, I'm curious to know how it worked out, or if you're going to follow along with the instructions provided today. Please come back and let us know how your block turned out. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.